It is embarrassing that we have a president of the United States who doesn't give a damn about our democratic allies, our rules, our norms, our values as a country, and only cares about himself. We had two very smart, intelligent, qualified women warn us about the dangers of having Trump as president of the United States in the past. Hillary Clinton, when she told the American people during one of the 2016 presidential debates that Vladimir Putin would love to have Donald Trump as president because he wants a puppet in the White House who would do Vladimir Putin's bidding, getting rid of NATO, dividing our allies, discrediting NATO, and that's exactly what Donald Trump is doing. We had Vice President Kamala Harris, another qualified woman, who said that Putin would be in Kyiv and he won't stop at Kyiv, and you would just give up for the sake of a friendship with a murderous, brutal dictator who will eat you for lunch, is what she warned us about. And they both were absolutely right. But unfortunately, too many Americans don't really care about geopolitical politics. They don't have any strategic, critical thinking when it comes to our place in the world. They don't understand how we have benefited from NATO, how we have benefited from all the allies that America has, which we are currently pushing our allies into the arms of Putin, pushing our allies into the arms of China by constantly bullying and demeaning them and being erratic. Eventually they're going to say, hey, who needs friends if you have friends like America who never live up to any deals, never back any deals? They make deals and they break them a few years later. Who wants to do business or trade or engage in strategic partnerships with a country that has no principles, no values, no value set? And they will think, at least with China and Russia, we know that their values, although they are evil, although they are self-serving, they are constant, and they're not constantly going back and forth and going every which way. And what I worry about is that Donald Trump doesn't really care about Ukraine. He doesn't really care about Europe. He doesn't care about NATO. He really doesn't care about the United States outside of him seeing himself as the United States. And what he's going to do and what he will settle for is exactly what Kamala Harris said, exactly what Hillary Clinton said. He will take any deal to end this war, to claim that he's the peacemaker and he got this great deal that only he could do. No matter if, Ukraine is this one square block and the rest is all Russia. He'll take credit for it and claim it as a victory from him, and he's a great negotiator. And this reminds me of the agreement that he negotiated with the Taliban almost exclusively. Once again, like he's leaving out Ukraine, he left out the Afghanistan government, negotiated a deal, the Doha Agreement with Afghanistan for the withdrawal of troops, and he forced the Afghan government to release 5,000 Taliban fighters. And of course, when Biden pulls out, sticking to some framework of the agreement that Donald Trump negotiated, although Donald Trump never sticks to any agreements that Biden or Democrats have negotiated, we pull out, and of course the weak Afghan government, who had no part in the deal, no obligations in the deal, immediately collapsed, and it's all blamed on Biden. So that's what he's going to do, and I think the Democrats should get ahead of this and say, because the war will come to an end at some point, and we know how Donald Trump operates. As I said, you have to position yourself to no matter what happens, you're seen in the right light. So Democrats need to position themselves. There will be a deal, and it's going to be a bad deal. It's going to be a bad deal it's going to be a bad deal for Ukraine. It's going to be a bad deal for Europe, and it's going to be a bad deal for the United States in the long term. And you harken back to the Afghanistan Doha Agreement, and by putting all this out there and seeding this in the American people's mind, once these things come to pass, they say, the Democrats are right. Oh, that was really Trump that negotiated that withdrawal deal with Afghanistan. I thought that was Biden. And you start to awaken some critical thinking in some of the American population who seems to just be clueless and have these very strong opinions about things they know nothing about. They have done little research, only parroting what they have heard, which is, I do the same thing. I listen, I look up stuff, and I repeat things that I hear, but I also have the ability to critically think. Like with Pete Hegseth, at the security conference, constantly drinking. Now, I know that some Democrats are saying he's drinking alcohol, but I can critically think and know that he's probably drinking water. He probably wishes he was drinking alcohol, and that's probably his nervous tick. But I can critically think and say, more than likely, it's just water. So the Democrats have to get on top of this, get ahead of this. We know what's going to happen. The war will come to an end eventually. It'll be a bad deal for Ukraine. It'll be a bad deal for Europe. It'll be a bad deal for the United States. Trump will claim victory and say he ended the war. And we have to lay that predicate so when it happens, we are seen in a good light and not someone who just predicted that the war will never end, because of course it will.